So this is an unboxing and brief review of the new Light phone. I first heard about this phone on Kickstarter, and I placed an order probably the better part of a year ago, and I just received it within the last few days. The company website has a lot of information about the philosophy of the phone, but just for people who aren't familiar with it, I'll mention that the idea is to have sort of a minimalist phone. This doesn't get on the internet. It doesn't allow you to send and receive emails. You can't send text messages, no photographs, no video. The idea is basically you make calls and you receive calls. And if somebody can't reach you, they leave a voicemail. If you can't remember their number, they're probably not worth calling. Now I joke there because I think there is a feature where you can store 10 different speed dial numbers. But it's a pretty light phone, no pun intended. There aren't a whole lot of features. It's designed to be very small, very compact, very lightweight, and to supplement maybe a more standard smartphone. So I've actually already unboxed the package here, and sorry to spoil that surprise. And it comes in a booklet form like this. So you get it and it actually looks like a book and actually has pages like a book, which is interesting. And I think this goes with their minimalist aesthetic, sort of marketing campaign. There's nothing really in here other than some photographs. And you flip through it. And essentially I'll cut to the end here. When you get to the back, you've got this. And there's the phone, and it comes with a charging cable. That's it. That's all you get inside. Now, it originally came with a little piece of plastic over the front, and all the plastic had on it was numbers, and then a series of numbers at the top representing, I think it was the time, not a phone number, but the time. So I peeled that off, and what you're left with is this. And I'll turn it on in a minute so you can actually see the display, but when it's off, notice that you can't see any numbers, and there's just nothing. It looks like a kind of a thick white credit card. On the back it's very faint, you can't really read it, but it says light. Now the switches on here, as best I've been able to determine both by using it and by looking at the brief instruction booklet, which I'll show you in a minute. It's just a one sheet instruction page. This is the power button on top. This is, of course, the earpiece, the headphone, the speaker, if you will. On the side here is a lock button. That seems that's all that does. Over here is where you insert your SIM card. And then at the bottom here you've got your microphone and you've got your micro USB port. So that's basically about it. Now I'll go ahead and turn the phone on so you can see the display. And this is interesting. It lights up. You can see at the top it says lock. I'll turn the lock feature off. And you can see that as I'm filming this, it's 8:12. Let's see if I can get that to come back on again. So you can see there the digits that are on the display, plus you can see the buttons. I'll turn that back on again. It turns itself off to save power. But this button here would be your green button, your send button, or answer button, and then over here would be hang up or delete if you were in the middle of a function. Now the instruction booklet it comes with is actually just one sheet. It's just got sort of a layout there, and on the back it's got some information on how it functions. It's pretty straightforward. Overall, what I found in using it over the last 24 hours is that the sound quality is excellent. It's essentially on par with regular modern smartphones. Doesn't sound any better, but certainly doesn't sound any worse. If you're familiar with the Samsung S7 HD audio feature, like if you were to call somebody else with a Samsung phone, you're going to have better sound quality, obviously, than you will with this phone. But that feature is sort of the exception. Most of the modern cell phones have about the same sound quality, so this one sounds very good. This is very lightweight. That's something that I like about it quite a bit. It's about probably half the size of some of the smaller cell phones that you see on the market. And it's got a nice feel to it. The plastic doesn't feel cheap. There's no metal really on the outside other than, for these jacks. So, it's not making use of the glass and the metal that you're seeing on most smartphones today, but the plastic does feel like a good plastic. So only two things that I've found so far in using it that I don't really like. One is that when you go to use the phone, these numbers are pretty clear, especially if it's not, you're not out in broad daylight. These numbers are up here can be very difficult to read. When I called myself yesterday, had my wife call me and I called her, the phone number at the top is difficult to read. And I think it would be impossible to read if you were out in sunlight. The bottom, I haven't had any trouble with that, even really bright light, looking at the numbers at the bottom. And they do make a black version of this phone, so I think that if you got the black version, it might be a little bit easier because there'd be some contrast. The second thing I don't like about the phone is I'm concerned that you may not be able to use it in the future. It's using 2G, and most phone services are phasing 2G out if they haven't already. And so I'm not sure how long I'll be able to use the phone, quite honestly. I ordered it, about a year ago, just finally received it. I won't lie, I'm excited to receive it, and it was worth the wait. It's very cool. I like the styling, and I like the attention to detail they put into it. But because it's been in development so long, the phone system that they thought would be appropriate at the time may be a phone system that we're not going to have for much longer. So I do hope that they come out with some sort of update. I haven't kept up to speed with whether or not they've got a fix for that, but that's one concern if you're looking to buy this. There is one other thing I'll just mention about the phone is I haven't figured out how to do this yet. Apparently there's a way for you to take your SIM card from your cell phone, insert it in here, and then sort of use this as a surrogate for your main phone. So rather than having a separate telephone number everybody has to memorize to call you on, you would swap this phone out, like if you were going on vacation or you're relaxing for the weekend and you want to have this very simple light phone with you, you put your SIM card in here, forget your troubles with regard to email, text messages, and Facebook, and then you carry this around for the weekend. I haven't figured out how to do that. It may just be as easy as popping the SIM card in, but it looks like from their instructions you're supposed to go online, set it up, and it's a little more involved. Probably doesn't take very long, but I don't think it's as easy as just inserting the card. Another thing that I'll mention about that same topic is when I got the phone and was excited to charge it and try it right out of the box, I was able to make calls right away. I didn't have to do any setup. I just turned the phone on. I called my cell phone number, my main cell phone, and it rang. I did one phone in each ear, it sort of did a little test. Then I had my wife call me and I called her, and it had a New York cell phone number, which I don't know if it's somebody else's. I don't know how it worked. I'm just telling you it worked. And so right out of the box, I could start making calls. I'm not sure who's getting charged for those calls. There is something in the instruction manual that says that it can be a standalone phone. I have to read more about that because I'm not sure. I just don't understand that, how basically I started using the phone yesterday without any setup. I'm not complaining. It's kind of cool because right out of the box, you're excited to try it out. But I didn't recognize the phone number, and like I said, I'm in Oregon here, and it was a New York cell phone number. I think the company's based out of Brooklyn, so maybe they just give you a phone number that works from the New York area. So overall, I'm impressed with the phone. I think it's a really interesting idea. I understand it's not going to be for everybody. I think if I was going to design this phone, I would have made sure that it works with 3G. I probably would have figured out a way to have a better display at the top because, like I said, that's pretty fuzzy. I do like the numbers down at the bottom and the fact that when it's powered off, it's just a white blank slate. I think that aesthetic is very appealing for a phone like this. I just wish the display up top was a little sharper. But overall, I like it. If given the chance again, I would buy another.